going to have Jeff kick this one off about kind of breadth of experience versus depth, and if I'm just so focused on my department, how do I understand what people are doing in the other departments?
I think that a lot of people are going to look at this question differently. I mean, we all have different experiences, backgrounds, we have different goals, and we're at different places where we are with our fellowships. For me personally, I usually think of things very big picture, and I like to be involved with a lot of tasks. But when I started my fellowship, I made a point just to take a step back and say, what's going to be important to this year? And I determined that that was going to be just developing depth and competency within my own functional area, within my team. I have 1 year. As a one-year program, you have a year to make an impact. So it's important for me to be able to check everything off that I need to accomplish. Outside of that, I plan to do some extra projects, but they're going to be fellowship bucket list type projects where I work with the medical affairs field team, or I get involved with a market shaping project. So those will be extra. I really want to be focused on my actual program, though.
So this question actually is a little hard to answer in some senses, because I know that not every program is rotationally based, and the way that this can be perceived is twofold. If we start looking too much into the depth part of it, you start to lose focus of what's the bigger picture, as well as what Jeff said. But if you start going too much of the breadth part, we're not becoming a per se content master in anything, essentially. By not becoming a master at one thing, it leads us to a hard place of where we're going to really make a foothold and start, right? So you can't master everything that we're doing, especially in a rotational-based program, but how do we at least make sure that we have enough competencies in one area that this is where we can be or have a starting place, right? So as your career goes on, I've seen a graph, at least from, back in pharmacy school, of how it shifts, the paradigm shifts as you go on in your career. As you first start out, you are more content heavy, and you become, as time goes on, more management heavy, right? So you look at the full spectrum of, you start more content, but you end more breadth. But if you don't know the breadth of the other places or departments in this case, how do you know how that management style should be implemented for the future? So it's a catch-22. Personally, I prefer the breadth part and a little bit of depth, but that's just my personal opinion with it as well. So.